Hello, horse racing fans. It's Mark with HereTheyCome.com. And getting ready for the final future wager pool for the Kentucky Derby this year. That's right, pool number 6. It's time. It actually opened yesterday at noon and it's going to close tomorrow, Saturday at 4 p.m. early. Um, this is actually going to be the 27th year for the Future Wager Pool. Unbelievable. 26 years have gone by already. It is the final, the sixth pool this year, which is comprised of 39 individual betting entries, and on all others is the 40th. You can do win and exacta wagers only. This is just a brief history of the Future Wager Pool. First started in 1999. From 99 to 2013, there were just 3 pools. And then Churchill expanded it in 2014 to 4 pools. And then in 2020, they expanded it again to 5 pools. And yeah, you guessed it, 2023, they expanded it yet again to 6 pools and increased the number of entries, wagering entries, to 40. Previously, it was 25, 24 plus on all others as the field. Back in 2010, they then added the exacta wagering. So you can do exacta wagers as well as exacta boxes. In 2016, they came up with the idea of adding a sires pool. So betting on the sire of the Kentucky Derby winner. Now that coincides with the very first pool of the year of the Future Wager Pool, but it's an interesting wagering concept. We're going to go over a history of those 26 years of Kentucky Derby winners and their payoffs in the final future wager of that year. In the 26 years, there's been 10 winning favorites on Derby Day. Their average payoffs on Derby Day is $7.96. Pretty much what you'd figure a favorite would pay on Kentucky Derby Day. In the final future wager pool, those winners paid $16.96 in the final future wager pool. So more than double the price we can get in pool 6. We just have to be able to predict um, who would be the favorite on Derby Day and hope that they win, but wager on them in pool 6. So the favorite, the morning line favorite in pool 6 is journalism number 20 is 4-1 odds. So if he would win as a favorite on Derby Day, his odds no doubt would be less than 4-1, and you'd make more money in the final future wager pool. 3 of those winning favorites on Derby Day did not have an entry in the final future wager pool. So those got paid out as the all others or the field. Here are the winning Derby favorites. The most recent 2018 is Triple Crown winner Justify. Paid 780 on Derby Day, much higher in the final future wager pool of $28.40. Always Dreaming, $11 Derby Day, 14 in the final future wager. Nyquist, 660 in Derby Day, $8 in the final future wager pool. American Pharoah, the other Triple Crown winner, 780 on Derby Day, $13 in the final future wager. California Chrome, 7 versus 20. Orb, 12 versus 29. Big Brown, close to the same, $6 on Derby Day, $8.60 in the final future wager. Street Sense, 11 versus 15. Smarty Jones, almost a Triple Crown winner, should have been. $10 on Derby Day, but $23, so double the price on the final future wager, $23. And he was undefeated. So an undefeated runner paid double in the final future wager than what he paid on Kentucky Derby Day. Looking at long shot Kentucky Derby winners in those 26 years, there's been 10 that have won at 15-1 odds or greater. Um, 4 of them did not have an entry in the final future wager pool. I don't think that'll happen this year since they've expanded the number of entries to 40 from the 25 to 40. It's almost impossible not to identify which horses will be in the Kentucky Derby and thus have an entry in the final future wager pool. Um, so I don't think you have to worry about the field this year. Anyways, those long shot winners on Kentucky Derby Day averaged $79.73. In the final future wager pool, they averaged $54.85. But if you take out those 4 field payoff entry years, then the average payoff in the final future wager pool is $70, so almost the same as what they pay on Kentucky Derby Day, $79 versus $70. So you're going to be able to collect both. If a long shot wins on Derby Day, you can bet them on Derby Day, and you get about the same price in the final future wager pool as well. And here are those long shot Derby winners. Excuse me. Last year was Mystic Dan, $39 on Derby Day, paid much higher in the final future wager at $72.98. And then we have Mage in the year before, 2023, $32 on Derby Day, but a big, basically almost 3 times that, of $95.54 in the final future wager. Rich Strike is the abnormal winner on Derby Day. Went off at 81 to 1, paid $163 on Derby Day. Did not have an entry in the final future wager because he wasn't supposed to be in the Kentucky Derby race. He only got in at the last moment, the last hour before cutoffs on Friday before Derby Day, when D. Wayne Lucas scratched his runner, and that gave Rich Strike the opportunity to get into the race, and then he went on and upset the field. That's why he didn't have an entry in the final future wager pool. I don't expect that to happen again for a long time. Country House won via DQ on Derby Day and paid $132 in the final future wager. He was less at $40. I'll have another $32 Derby Day, $45 on the final future wager. Animal Kingdom, $43 on Derby Day, $64 on the final future wager. Mine That Bird, 50 to 1 upset winner in Derby Day at $103, did not have an entry in the future wager pool. Giacomo, another 50 to 1 winner on Derby Day, paid $102, but he did have an entry in the final future wager and paid just about the same at $103. 2002 and 99, the winners did not have an entry in the final future wager pool. Looking at the mid-range Derby winners, and there were 6 of them. Well, odds went off between 6 to 1 and 14 to 1. Their average Derby Day payoffs, a decent $21.37. But in the final future wager, they were double that at $44.73. So we can look at, so that's an average odds of what, 22, 21 to 1 average odds in the final future wager pool. So we probably want to look at those runners when we get closer to the end, the close of the future wager. Look at the ones that are in that range of 20 to 1 odds to 20 to 21 to 1 odds, and see if we might want to consider putting wagers on those runners. But you won't know that until like the hour before the pool closes at 4 o'clock on Saturday. And here are those Derby winners in the mid-range odds. Most recent being 2021 with Medina Spirit. Paid $26 on Derby Day, $28 in the final future wager pool. He did get disqualified from the win, but that was a year later. So you got paid off on him on Kentucky Derby Day. Authentic, $18 in Derby Day, 25 in the final future wager. Super Saver, look at Super Saver. $18 in Derby Day, 73 in the final wager pool. Big. That's what three and a half times the price. Barbaro, $14. He was undefeated on Derby Day. $14 on Derby Day, but $20 in the final future wager. Look at Funny Side. $27 on Derby Day, $107 in the final future wager. Unbelievable. How to play the future wager pool 6. Well, just summarizing there. Favorites, Derby Day favorites tend to pay more in the future wager pool, $7.96 versus $16.96. Big long shots on Derby Day pay a little less in the final future wager pool, $79 versus $54. However, mid-range odds winners on Derby Day pay much more in the final future wager, $21 versus $44. There were 4 times that the Derby winner, did not have an entry in the final future wager pool. And those payoffs were $93 versus $31. So they didn't pay as much in the all others or the field entry. This year would be number 40. The Rays pedigree. Rays are native sire pedigree lines. Everybody's been following us over the last 26 years knows the importance that we put in this pedigree line for winning the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont Stakes, as well as the Breeders' Cup Classic races. It has been proven to be key. Matter of fact, 9 of the last 18 Derby winners had the sire side pedigree line of Rays a native. It has to be sire side, top sire side, as well as 14 of the last 25. So over 50% of the winners are runners with the Rays a native sire side. Their average payoff in Derby Day is $57. In the final pool payout, $39. So a little bit less in the final future wager pool, but still well worth putting a wager on these runners. Here are the Rays a native Kentucky Derby winners. 2023 is the most recent with Mage. $32 in Derby Day, $95 in the final future wager. Rich Strike, $163 in Derby Day, did not have an entry in the final future wager pool. You got Country House, $132 versus $40. Always Dreaming, $11 versus $14. American Pharoah, Triple Crown winner. I'll Have Another is not one of those. This is an error in this display here. I'll Have Another did not have the Rays a native sire side pedigree line. Super Saver, $18 in Derby Day, $73 in the final pool, future wager pool. Mine That Bird did not have an entry in the final pool, $103 in Derby Day. The field paid $36 in future wager. Street Sense, about the same, 11 versus 15. Smarty Jones, undefeated Kentucky Derby winner, should have been a Triple Crown winner, did not have an entry in the final future wager pool, still paid double what he paid as a favorite on Derby Day of $10 versus $23.60. Funny Side, big discrepancy. $27 on Kentucky Derby Day, $107 in the final future wager. How'd that happen? War Emblem was a field runner. Monarchos, Fuchsiagus, Pegasus as well. Remember, horses with a Rays a native sire side pedigree line have won 14 of the last 25 Kentucky Derbies. That's over 50%. Final pool payouts for those 14 winners was $39.38. So every $20 for a $20 win wager, you made $390. There are 14 entries in Pool 6 that have the powerful Raisin native sire side pedigree line. And they are here. These are the ones with the Raisin native sire in the pool 6. So you've got the 3, the 6, the 7, the 9, the 18, the 19, the 20. Journalism is the morning line favorite in pool 6, 4-1. I actually like journalism quite a bit. Then we go to the 21, the 22, the 23, the 26, the 28, the 30, the 34. I like the 30 a little bit there, River Thames. Worth a wager at 40-1 odds. Remember, California-based runners have won 7 of the last 13 Kentucky Derbies. Here they are with their final future wager pool payout and their Kentucky Derby Day payout. Most recent being Medina Spirit. Even though he got disqualified, still collected on him on Kentucky Derby and in pool 6. Authentic in 2020. Triple Crown winner, Justify in 2018, NyQuest 2016, another Triple Crown winner, American Pharoah in 2015, California Chrome 2014, I'll have another 2012. And how many of those were Bob Baffert runners? 1, 2, Medina Spirit, Authentic, Justify, 3, American Pharoah, 4. 4 of them were Bob Baffert trainees. There are 5 California-based runners in Pool 6, which is not a lot, but then California racing is kind of going downhill. And here they are. The 3, the 4, the 11, the 20, and the 31. As you can see, of the 5, 3 of them are trained by Bob Baffert. However, the favorite of the group is Journalism, trained by Mike McCarthy. And John Sheriffs has 2 of them in here. Remember, Sheriffs had the 50-1 upset winner in Giacomo. So his runners will be a 50-1 if they make it into the Kentucky Derby this year, too. They will be long shot winners. But you want to take a look at them, see how the race records match up to what we're suggesting you use. Which ones have the Raisin native sire side pedigree line? How to play the Pool 6 future wager. You want to concentrate on undefeated records. Those with only 1 loss and those never worse than second. There are just 2 undefeated entries in the future wager Pool 6, not 4. That's a typo. It's the 18 and the 27 in here, which is that are still undefeated. They also, though, haven't been in the graded stakes races yet, so a little questionable there. Entries never worse than second. The 4, the 10, the 16, the 26, 30, 32, and the 37. Never been worse than second. Definitely key runners for the Kentucky Derby. We'll take a look at their history, stats of Derby winners' race records here in a moment. Entries with only 1 loss. There's only 3, not 4, in the Pool 6. The number 8, the 11, and the 20. The 8 is Captain Hook. The 11 is Citizen Bull for Baffert, who is the juvenile champion from last year. And, of course, the 20, the other California runner, Journalism, the morning line favorite. And you want to look at those never out of the money. Number 15 and 31. Final Gambit and Rodriguez, another Bob Baffert trainee. So you want to look at these more closely. Which ones of these have the Raisin native sire side? Which ones are California-based runners? Which ones are Bob Baffert runners? And so forth. And here we're taking to show you how important it is of our horse's race record, the consistency of being in the trifecta, at least, and looking at the race records, pre-Derby race records of Derby winners. Last year, Mystic Dan, he was never off the board. 6 races, 2 wins, 1 second, and 3/3. How about Mage? 3 races, a first and a second. Only lost one, only off the board once. Red Strike, again, abnormal. 7 races, 1 win, and 3/3. Um, so again, he wasn't supposed to make it to field, but he did it at the last moment. So he's a toss out for all of our analysis here. Medina Spirit, never worse than second. Authentic, never worse than second. 4 wins and a second out of 5 races. Country House, won only through a DQ, but again, never off the board. 6 races, 1 win, 2/3, 2 seconds, 3/3. Triple Crown winner Justify, undefeated, 3 for 3. Always Dreaming, never off the board. 3 wins, a second and third in 5 races. Night Quest, undefeated, 6 for 6. Triple Crown winner American Pharaoh, 4 wins from 5 races. California Chrome, a lot of races, 10 races, 6 wins in a second. Orb, 4 wins from 7 races. I'll have another 5 races, 3 wins, 1 second. Animal Kingdom, never worse than second. Super Saver, only off the board once. 6 races, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Mind That Bird, 50-1 long shot winner on Derby Day. 8 races with 4 wins and a second. Big Brown, undefeated. Street Sense, never off the board. 3 wins, 2 seconds, 2/3. Undefeated Barbaro, 5 for 5. Giacomo, John Scher's 50-1 upset winner. Only had 1 win from 7 races, but 2 seconds and 2/3. So 5 out of 7 in the trifecta. Smarty Jones, undefeated. Paid $23 in a future wager pool. Funny Side, 6 races, 3 wins, and 2 seconds. Paid $107 in a future wager. War Emblem was in the field, 4 wins from 7 races. And Monarcho's Fuchsia Pegasus was undefeated. Charismatic didn't have an entry. He was in the field. So you can see how the race records, pre-Derby race records of who you're going to wager on, must be consistently good. Consistently good. 28 of the last 35 Derby winners finished first or second in their second to their last prep race. Not their last prep race, but the one prior to that. So the runners are in the prep races this weekend in the Wood Memorial, the Santa Anita Derby, and the Bluegrass Stakes. Now, look at those. Almost all of them have an entry in Pool 6. Look at the ones that were never worse than second in their last race. And provided they run well in their prep race this weekend, they're good bets. We're not going to know how they perform this weekend before the close of Pool 6. So we have to make a guess, predict which ones are going to win the race or come in second or hit the board. 14 of the last 27 Derby winners won their final prep race. So those runners that are not in these prep races this weekend, that means they've already put in their final prep race. So look at the past performances for those runners and look for winners in their last race. Also keep in mind, none of the past 35 Kentucky Derby winners had raced in either in the Jerome or the Gotham Stakes in New York. Now, the 16 horse is actually won the Gotham this year, and that's Flood Zone. Now, he's actually going to be running in the UAA Derby this weekend. He's traveling all the way to Dubai to try to get enough points to get into the race. We're not going to bet on him regardless of what happens to him. And then also the number 24 Mimatole, and the 32 Sand Devil. They also ran into Gotham. They are not going to get our money for a win bet. You could use them in the exacta, the bottom side of the exacta, but they are not getting any win bets for me, and they shouldn't from you as well. Um, they're just total throwouts, toss outs. Those three runners, toss them out. Remember the Baffert runners. He's won 7 Kentucky Derby winners races. He was prevented from participating in the last 3 years because of the so-called positive drug test of Medina Spirit. He might have the best 3-year-olds in the country. He certainly has the reigning juvenile champion with Citizen Bull, the 11 runner. So 2 of his runners in the pool 6 have already won prep races, so they're obviously very good runners. And he wants to win this race something bad from Churchill Downs preventing him from participating the last 3 years. He's looking for retribution. And he has a good shot at getting it. Whether he will or not, that's the big question. I'm going to play win tickets on the 6, the 11, the 22, and the 30. I'm going to play exacta boxes, 2 exacta boxes. I'm going to play the first one with the 6, the 9, the 20, and the 30. And I'm going to play a second one with the 10, the 11, the 20, and the 30. Then I'm going to play an exacta bottom wheel, which I like to play. Which is all on top. I'm going to use journalism number 20 on the bottom, which is a morning line favorite in pool 6. On Derby Day, favorites can come in second a lot. And then if you want to do a second bottom wheel exacta with the field, just in case there's another rich strike somehow, it gets into the race. But that's actually it's probably a waste of money. So you can leave that off of your wagering ticket unless you got some extra cash in your account and you want to do that. So at least do a bottom wheel exacta of all with number 20. Again, the 3 final 100-point prep races this weekend is the Wood Memorial, the Bluegrass, Santa Anita Derby. The Bluegrass has been rescheduled at Keeneland from Saturday till next Tuesday. They've canceled racing cards for Friday and Saturday. Friday's card will be run on Monday, and Saturday's card, including the Bluegrass, will be run on Tuesday. But since the future wager closes at 4 p.m. on Saturday before the Wood and the Santa Anita Derby are run, you got to get your wagers in before that. So not knowing who's going to win those races or come in second, winners and second place horses will automatically have enough points to get into the Kentucky Derby. Remember, there's no refund, so if our horses that we wager on, if they don't make the starting gate on the first Saturday of May, our wagers are gone. They're lost. There's no refunds, no scratches, or any of that type of thing that we have on a normal day of horse racing. Again, these are the final prep races this weekend, and in addition to that, you can add the UA Derby as a 100-point prep race. But this year, Churchill Downs has taken it out of the standard Derby prep races and moved it over to the European um, race to the Roses. But none of the European races have 100 points to the winner or 50 points to the runner-up. So whoever wins the UA Derby and comes in second, if they want to participate in the Kentucky Derby, they will have enough points to get in there. But again, the UA Derby. We will know who won those races because that's early in the morning, way before 4 p.m. So you're gonna have to get up and watch those races like at 10 o'clock in the morning. But again, the only one that's in that field from Future Wager 6 is Flood Zone, which we're not betting because he's the winner of the Gotham Stakes. Now, here's another thing to help you out a little bit. This shows you which of the big 6 prep races their impact in the superfecta on Kentucky Derby Day. So for win considerations, you can see that produced the most, the prep races that produced the most winners between 2004 and 2024 have been the Florida Derby, the Santa Anita Derby, and the Arkansas Derby. So you want to take a closer look at those participants in Pool 6 to determine whom you might want to place a win wager on. And then if you're playing exactas, you can add into that group the bluegrass participants as well, as they've produced 5 times, as well as the Louisiana Derby produced 4 runners in the second spot of the superfecta. So we'll look at Louisiana Derby runners and the bluegrass stake runners, along with the Florida Derby, Santa Anita Derby, and Arkansas Derby for placing exacta wagers. For win wagers, we're going to concentrate on Florida Derby, Santa Anita Derby, Arkansas Derby participants for deciding who we're going to place our wager on. Like last year, the Kentucky Derby winner, Mystic Dan, ran in the Arkansas Derby. So again, this kind of points out where you want to concentrate your handicapping. You can go out to our website, herettheycome.com, and see all the entries for the Pool 6, and you can actually download the free Brisk Past performances for all the entries as well. And you can also look at the results of the other 5 pools from this year, what the closing odds were versus the opening odds on the individual runners as well. You can see all of that out there as well. So go out there and take a look at them. Get your free Brisk Past performances. You can also, when you're out there, sign up to get our 2025 updated version of our Proven Winning Derby profile. This is like our 26th year for that as well. And helps you zero in on most likely winners of the Kentucky Derby, as well as which horses to use for your exactas, trifectas, and superfecta wagers, and where the long shots come from as well. So you can also get a special discounted pricing if you want to sign up for our Triple Crown races. We make our picks available as well as the Proven Winning Derby profile. So you can get our picks for the Kentucky Derby, as well as we also have an option for getting our full card picks for all 14 or 13 races on Derby Day. We make available as well. And you can get the same thing for the Triple Crown races at a discounted pricing for the Preakness Stakes and the Belmont Stakes, along with the Kentucky Derbies. So it's a really good value. So go out there and take a look at it. Thank you for watching, and keep an eye on our YouTube page, as we'll be putting some other handicapping tip videos out there between now and the first Saturday in May. Thanks, guys. Good luck in the future wager pool. I think it's a pool you want to make sure you have some bets in there. Thanks for watching.